Alright folks, here a highlight about doing 3D avatar, making 3D avatars in Blender for at least many things, but essentially here more for VC face, the only thing that I'm slightly more comfortable with, but I'm still a newbie in that. But here's something that I couldn't find anywhere in the easily, at least, right? So here some crucial tips if you're trying to rig a character like this in Blender. So for a 3D avatar, you know, mocap, facial mocap. And so essentially, first thing in Blender, there is now a promoted add-on to an extension, which is the VRM format. So this is an extension now in Blender 4.0, right, with the libraries. You just get it from Get It Extensions, and that it should be here. So this will allow to export and import. Oh, there's some options here I've never checked. Okay, but so this will, I never touched that, so I don't know. So just get this one, and so then we can start using the armature. So this allows, you see there's a VRM panel here in a tab actually, and there's a lot of stuff. This is Bone Manager. So yeah, so many things here. It's pinned, this is why it appears here. So here we got all these panels, and this can be daunting at first, but it's not. So far the most crucial things are not that difficult. So this is I don't know half about those things, but I know just enough to be dangerous now. So essentially now with the add-on we are able to import to add a VR humanoid, which is just this armature here actually. So I'll just add here this armature object, so VRM humanoid, which, okay, it goes to the center. Oh, there's some, okay, never used that anyway. So actually, what was the other there? So it was oops. Okay, let's add another one. Whip with template mesh. I don't know what it is. Anyways, so this is not important. So what matters here, let's deselect this one, is that this one, you see the structure of this rig. It has a head bone, it has the two eyes, neck. The head is connected to the if we use auto IQ option from pose options, you see, then we can have yeah, the chain, the IQ chain goes until the hip. So all these bones are parented. Then the hand is connected with until the shoulder ends, and then we have an offset parenting the shoulder towards the well, to parent to the chest, which is here. And then okay, then it's symmetric, right? And then the hand, yeah, the fingers, it's like this is wrong, it's not thumb proximal, this is actually already a metacarpal. So the thumb proximal would be this, and the distal would be this, and there would be no intermediate in the case of the thumb. Okay, so noobish thing, but okay, who would know, right? It's interesting. So yeah, so we have this index, proximal, intermediate, distal. These are anatomic names for the phalanxes I got from the internet medical ideas. So here we got little, ring, middle, and okay, and all of those are deformed bones. Actually, those fingers, they have this behavior. So that suggests that a software like for facial mocap, essentially, that is VC face, uses an inverse kinematics for these chains here, which is limited, just as the auto I key. The parenting stops here, the connected parent, and it becomes parented offset. So this limits the inverse kinematics. Same for this the whole arm here, and this, the, you see, disconnected, but the fingers are not connected. So this suggests to me that they use Blender probably have the similar inverse kinematic structure. So the arm would do auto IK, and that is how there is a hand tracking stuff, right? And the fingers is the same. It's probably inverse kinematics for the whole each finger. So and then we have the legs, which is pretty similar to the arm, except that the foot. So this is connected. Yeah, so it's all connected. So this is a bit more strange, but okay, that is hard to control this, right? So probably we control from here, but it doesn't matter. So the idea is all this is connected, and then you see, as expected, just for the shoulder, the hips are disconnected. So they do not have the support bone here. I think this is, yeah, that because the problem is that the software, the add-on, the extension here, in order to detect the stuff here, the VRM stuff, there is this where it is human VRM, yeah. So you have these things, and if the parenting, I think the skeleton doesn't matter. You can have whichever, the names of the bones don't really matter. Maybe the left and right conventions matter, but the fact is that the bones are, they, if we do something different in the parenting, it will disable some of the features here. For instance, let's say I wanted this to be connected. This will probably shoulder left, shoulder left. These are optional bones actually, but probably, okay, it's still here. But if I disconnect it, okay, so let's try something. I know that if you, yeah, so here for some reason I'm being yeah, I know that if we mess this too much, if we have a custom armature or something else, that maybe it's more about these ones that are changed, like these are the hands, right? So you need to get one by one, but they have a hierarchy. And so if we do something a bit crazy, if you bring a different armature, it will not detect, it will, like, you select one and your options start to fade away. So I still don't understand the logic. Apparently I didn't know really how it worked, because otherwise this will not allow me to do this. Right, let's see here if I delete this upper and lower arm, then you see you have this. Then if I select the lower arm, then you see, so there's a structure here that is hierarchical, and it certainly has more meaning here. So I don't know the extent in which we can be creative in this, but one thing is good is that, okay, if you use this armature as anyone would do normally, right? It's just me, maybe that, no, it's not just me, but I try to do something different. So I started mixing this VRM armature with skeleton with my own stuff, and try to see how things work, right? And for some reason they always delete in the tutorials the root bone without any explanation. So anyways, so it works in VC Face without that bone, so I don't get it. But note that these bones, they are actually deformed bones. So I'm not sure if they themselves need to be deformed bones, but what I found for sure is that we can have connected bones. Like this is my armature with my character. So this is the interesting part. Let me show you. If I have a, for example, there's a tail here that I've had before, and I just parented this chain of bones into this hip, and these bones are deformed bones. They are not from the VRM, so, and they are deformed bones for the tail, and they work if we connect them to the VRM armor, the skeleton, right? So whichever bone, so this suggests that certain, and the bone constraints, I'm not sure if they would work, but then one interesting thing again, so you can keep adding skinning stuff, like cloth bone, ears, with these bones, so all the same structure, see, parented here, but it could be parented here. So for example, this one, this cloth bones for this kimono or kimono like thing, I've parented to, you see here, and they are deformed bones and they are not in the original, and you don't need to recall them from that structure here, right? Maybe there would be a place for there's no place for tails, so just an added thing, I guess. I don't see it. And so in this way we can easily customize this, adding whichever assets we want, and provide these are deformed bones. And I don't think bone constraints will work. Maybe some bone constraint will work, but the parenting seems to be safe, at least crude way, but it will be at least safe. And then if apparently there are some bone constraints that can work. This I don't know what does. It's set off by default. And another interesting and what's somewhat fundamental in many projects is the physics. This is why I've picked all these bones here. Currently I have wiggle 2 add-on, right, for this hold on, let's play the physics here. Actually, let's reset physics. This won't work outside, right? It's an extension, but we can test, right? And then the way to attach the physics in the outer software is by using, it's a bit annoying, I know there are some guys that made some add-ons to automate this, is the spring bones. So for instance here there are these things. So basically what we need to do is create a spring bone group, like empty, then we get some data here. This looks like a bit like the wiggle to add-on stiffness, so you can drag for some gravity. I don't know, I really don't know. I need to mess up with that. And this we won't see in Blender. I think this needs to be tested outside, and then gravity direction, then maybe, I don't know, I use my own root bone. It seems to work, right? Center bone, is that the center of gravity? Right, it's all like most add-ons, we need to learn everything that we need, and it's always a pain in the head, because it's like documentations, no matter how effort the guys put, the developers they put, it's never easy, at least not for me. So but if we are persistent enough, we can stubborn enough, we end up learning the basics and learning how that works. So it's same here. So here we got this. So okay, let's say we get this okay, a root. This is not the root of the VRM avatar, it's just a bone that is in the bottom, we don't see here, doesn't matter. So just seems like that would be, I need to try it. Then this is the annoying part, is that we need to add one by one, like so here at least there this, but then for example I had to do this for each one of these deformed physics bone, right? So the order I think doesn't matter, but yeah, it's like this. And then we have the spring bones with these features, that apparently these features will work for the whole system, right? It's not individuated, right, like wiggle add-ons. So apparently this will be, and hit rate, this might be some collision things, and then I didn't know about the collision group, so I don't know what probably, yeah. So so yeah, so that's just how easy that that is. So, and the important thing, before I was trying to parent this rig, or actually bone constraint it to my other rig like a target rig, and it didn't work, because then these bones apparently they were bone constraint, or yeah, they were constrained in some ways. I don't remember, apparently most likely bone constraints. So it suggests that bone constraints of Blender sometimes work outside of Blender, so they wouldn't move, and the character, the 3D model was rigid, so the bones wouldn't move. So I had to free the VRM from the target rig. So this needs to be like the master rig, right? The master layer. Nothing must be below its influence. So this is very interesting. So unfortunately, this probably needs to be disconnect, because I don't know how that will. Yeah. So maybe we can make some chain here, I don't know. So this will be more my questions, because if I can make it the master rig, I could still control it outside of the thing. But this is just a more experimental question. We don't need this. We can just have a dual rig model with one rig model for being a 3D avatar, and the other, sorry, for being the rig card for 3D animation in Blender, or for a game project exporting whatever. So but wouldn't it be nice to have something integrated, right? So it's the problem is that these bones, they need to be free, so you can't just bone constrain them. Maybe not even with IK bone constraint or so. A lot of questions, right? So and who would care about this craziness? So anyways, folks, I hope this, and so by the way, then, so I don't know about importing. Yeah, this is I'm gonna load this anyways. So you see that even that I have here, so what I had to do is, because these are deformed bones, I've just picked the vertex group of my deformed bones of the skeleton deformed bone that I had here, some helper bones also, and attached them, parented. Yeah, the helper bones, just as these ones, I parent them to this stuff, and then accordingly to the positioning. And for the skeleton, I just disabled the, you see, the skeleton is full of stuff. This works in an avatar, because most of this will be ignored. You see, the secret, there are bendy bones. No, a lot of things here won't have any effect. Also because I've disconnected not disconnected, I've made all the skeleton here being non-deformed bones, right? So, and I just duplicated their vertex groups and gave them to the VRM skeleton, right? So I had made this one the master. In the end, I think I'll end up, if I don't find any new processing here, I'll just other solutions, I'll just, well, end up deleting all that is not relevant to the avatar rig, and then I'll just keep my custom rig, probably not with this, right? Because it is not integratable the way I would think. So, or not really integratable. Yeah, so that's it, folks. And the exporting, right? Then we just have to export here, export VRM, and that is okay. We have two armatures. Probably we need to choose an armature. So let's say we get the original one, and then there's this panel of exportation. So export all bone influence. I don't understand what is this for limit here. So maybe these are, oh, maybe these are vertex groups for deform, armature deform, yeah, skinning, not bone influence, not bone constraints, right? Export lights, maybe that works, I don't know. Enable advanced options, yeah, it was this. And here this is triangulating everything. So I've exported with, I didn't apply modifiers. Oh, that's another interesting question. Export invisible, so I don't need that. Just get, okay, if we disable some or hide objects, they won't be exported. So I think this will be the same if we disable this. So now we want to export just the armature and the meshes. So I have some ghost mesh with some bone constraint. No, I don't need them. So I have, yeah, I didn't need to merge join the mesh objects. They are all separated, as you can see here, and all that works. And then yeah, the hair is separate. You see that there's even, let's see, yeah, even this thing is it works, so it applies, right? It auto applies, so you don't need to apply the object modifiers. Maybe it will be safer. So I have subdivisions, all shrink wrap, this, it's all of course this will not work the same way, right? So we need to be careful about that. They won't work outside. What I've read in the instructions, that well, the armature modifier is the only thing that we need to maintain, and it will be ideal to join the mesh objects, but in my experience it worked even without joining mesh objects, as you can see. And that's it. And now another last thing, folks, we can have then something cool here just found today. There is this custom pose. So the default I think is auto, but then we can have yeah, it's auto, but then we have a custom pose, and there's an action. So essentially what all we need to do is to, for example, let's get here into the action editor. Let's cancel this, let's reset here, and then we gonna add a new pose, an action, right? And here we can make yeah, I'm using auto I key, but whatever. Yeah, there's some, so you can make pose, I don't know, whatever, even with the and then we select all. Actually, we don't need to do that in this particular case. I just need to isolate this one, and so I'm gonna insert keyframe for all of these, select all, and also the helper bones if we want the physics to already work there. Yeah, let's get this one. So yeah, what I'm doing, this is not spine, no, just the tail, and so insert again, and so it overlaps, and so here we got an action that I need to protect it, give a name, actions, and then this will be the custom pose that will work for exporting. Yeah, so we need to adapt, don't remember to get it here, right? And then custom pose. So this is nice, so you get this into the and by the way, if you go on VC face and other, this is because of the shrink wrap features. Ignore that. That broke after I was messing up with the thing. So the what I was saying, yeah, the arms don't work if we don't have a device in VC face which is a hands tracking motion system. So it combined, is not a webcam, yeah, it's probably a specialized webcam, something like that, just for the hands. The lead what's the name of that, hand lip motion, something like that. I never had anything like that, never seen, just look at the internet. So something you place on the desk, or it doesn't matter, don't need to explain that, the internet explains better. And it's not, yeah, it's not cheap, right? So it's a problem, right? So it's, apparently there would be some mocap thing that wouldn't have problem with that, where the camera, the webcam, will be able to track everything. So it's something software dependent in part, in a great deal. So it's some limitation, and so the arms won't be tracked in VC face without this device or some special plugin that is paid, or I don't know. So unfortunately I don't know any other solution. It would cost like $70, the worst, maybe something like that. So it's just, it's not super, it's not very, not accessible like for everyone, right? So it's not good. So anyways, but then we can pose the arms, and this is why some avatar with this custom, and that's why we can have a cool pose even though the arms are stiffened in some essence, in some way. So that's a way to sort of compensate for this. So in the end, If we don't have the feature, we can still have some cool. That's why we can see sometimes some avatar with the rigid hands, but actually they are actually looking cool. A bit awkward but cool, because the pose was thought maybe hanging hanging some object, having some object in the hand, right? A magician, I don't know. And so anyways, that's it folks for the lab. So this is some tips in avatar making, 3D avatar making in Blender for, I don't know, VC chat, but some concepts here probably apply to others, but then that it's beyond me at the right moment. Please like, subscribe if you enjoyed the content, so I can keep doing more about this.